Many of you asked for new maps, which inspired me to come up with something even more exciting. The problem with introducing new maps is that it takes me a long time. The Waterloo map took me weeks and is not even complete. So I decided to create a map editor so you can create your own maps and play with them. In this video I'm gonna show you how to use it, and at the end I'm also gonna tell you about the other changes that this update brings. When you enter the editor, it will show you two options, create or load a scenario. Let's start with create a scenario so we can create one from scratch. Okay, now we are in the create a scenario section, which allows us to choose the map size, and there is also an option that checks if the scenario is hybrid. In Lines of Battle, there were only two types of scenarios, preset and random. Preset scenarios have preset terrain, units, and objectives, like Waterloo. Random scenarios have nothing preset, like plains, river, or city. But in this update, a new type of scenario was introduced, hybrid scenarios. These scenarios have the terrain set, but the units and objectives are dynamic, like random maps. This way, we can create scenarios but play with our own armies and strategies. However, if we want to create a scenario where everything is set, like Waterloo, we can uncheck this option. Once you start creating a new scenario, you will see a panel with several sections. I'm gonna explain what each of them is for. First, you have the terrain section. The first checkbox marks if the set terrain action is active. If it is, when you click on a tile, it will apply the terrain and elevation you have selected. If the value is null for either of those, then it will not be applied. For example, if I have the terrain set, but the elevation is null, then only the terrain will be set, and the same goes the other way around. Now, we move on to the Create Units section. This section will allow you to create units of the type and player you choose. There is not much to explain. When you have this action activated, then it will create a unit with the characteristic you selected wherever you click. The Create Objective action works almost the same way as Create Unit. Remember that the scenarios must have at least one objective per player to work properly. As you place units and objectives, you can move them around, and in case of units, change their rotation. You can also select more than one unit by holding Shift, and you can also decide to delete selected units or objectives if you wish. If you want to make an historical map, I think this is one of the most useful features to achieve it. Let's say you want to make a map of the Battle of Borodino, but you don't know where to place the units and terrain. If you have an image of the battle map, you can import it as a background and trace it, so adding units and terrain similar to the ones on the real map becomes much easier. In fact, this is how I made the Waterloo map. Once you've finished tracing, you can download the map, refresh, and import it back. That way you can see the map you built without the background. Now I'm going to show you how to use the map we have created in a custom game. We just have to go to the custom section and import the map we have created, and choose the configuration we want. As this is a preset map, it will not let me choose the size of the armies since they are already set. And that's it, we have created a custom game with the map we created, and we can now invite a friend to play. In the case of having created a hybrid scenario, this will allow us to choose the size of the armies, and will also allow us to position our units and objectives, like the random scenarios. I think that's all for the map editor tutorial. What did you think? I think after this update we could do polls to officially add community maps to the game. Well, it's time to tell you about the other changes in this update. I have added the Grand Battle mode, which has 6,250 army points. I am sure this will make battles even more epic. I have improved the UI by making the Waterloo map visible in the background, because the previous UI was a bit empty. Since we now have an official wiki for the game, I have added a button to access it in the menu. I have lowered the price of the units to 300 and 500 EQ, so you can now obtain them faster. Players will now be able to decide the rotation of the last step of the movement arrow when creating the order. This will allow you to create more specific movements, but be careful though, as large rotations can slow down your unit. In single player, I have added the option to continue the game if one is created. And I have also fixed an annoying bug that was causing you to be set as the blue player if you were the red player and you came back in. That's all. I wanted to take this moment to thank my Patreons since they are helping me a lot to be able to continue developing this game so we can all enjoy it. I also wanted to thank you for having watched this video until the end. See you in the next video.